Something funny happened to me today. I was at work, and I sort of stopped and realized, wow, today's Tuesday. Tonight is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's never happened to me before. I've never found myself looking forward to Tuesdays, and I couldn't wait to see tonight's episode. That's how good the show has gotten the last few weeks. Now, let's get to the actual episode. Episode 19 of Season 1. It's entitled The Only Light in the Darkness. The beginning scene, we see this guy. He goes up to this other guy with his truck and he asks for a ride. The guy says no, so he does these weird powers, stops his car, and then he kills him just by barely touching him. And the whole time watching that scene, I was like, this feels like a beginning to an episode of Supernatural. Because every beginning scene of Supernatural, it's some random person who is either a demon or he has these powers. And then Sam and Dean has to stop them. So I thought that was interesting. I wanted to see where this would go. We see Ward, who is continuing to lie to the group, and it's funny to see just how good he is with these lies. All of it sounds believable. It makes me just want to go back and watch almost the whole season over to see if I could see any signs of his lies or any deceit that he has, because clearly he's pretty good at it. Now, Patton Oswalt, he's almost going on instinct or protocol, where there's this lie detector machine that Nick Fury had made, and he tests the whole group to basically find out if they're honest, if they're up and up, if they can be trusted. Now, everyone seems to pass with flying colors, and it was interesting to hear some of their answers or responses to certain questions. But then you get to Ward. In Ward, there's so many questions that he's answering, and it's coming up. The machine's going crazy. It's pretty obvious he's lying. Now, I know he used the excuse of his ribs are broken, so maybe it's affecting the results, but Patton Oswalt seemed like, okay, he knew something was up. He grabbed the gun, he pointed it at Ward, and he was questioning him. Are you Hydra? What's your real motives? And Ward, granted this is kind of the truth, but he just said, I'm here for S.H.I.E.L.D. And that rang true. So Patton Oswalt just puts the gun down and says, alright, that's good enough for me. It's like, come on. He passed one question about S.H.I.E.L.D., but every other question was just ringing off the charts. That just seemed like it was way too easily for Ward to pass. Now, I guess you could say the main plot of the episode is Coulson, Fitz, Simmons, and Triplet. They go off to try to catch that escaped inmate that we saw at the beginning who has these weird powers. He's going after this girl that he's obsessed with. She plays the cellist. So, to be honest, I wasn't really caring about this plot. I just, when he was chasing after her on the street, it felt like some of the same plots that the episodes at the beginning of the season were like, and that's what made me sort of become down on the show. The plot felt weak. And if it wasn't for the scenes with Ward and everything going on there, I would have said this was a pretty weak episode. We see Melinda May just ups and leaves because she's sick of the way Coulson's treating her, and she knows she's not wanted, so she leaves. Ward then kills Patton Oswalt. Just the way he closed the door, you're like, oh shit. You know it was coming. Then S.H.I.E.L.D. comes in, she's looking for him, but Ward makes up a lie, and then they talk. Ward's basically saying how he wants to further their relationship. He opens up to her about his brother and his parents and all this stuff. That backstory that I still am curious and interested to find out about, but now I can't tell if he's telling the truth. So they start to kiss, but then when S.H.I.E.L.D. touches the back of his neck, she sees blood, and Ward's like, oh, I guess my cut opened up. He leaves to clean up, and I guess when everyone passed a lie detector test, he Patton Oswalt put like this badge on them, and it was really a tracer, so he could keep tabs on them. So Skye had the laptop where he saw where everyone was. She saw the signal on where Patton Oswalt was supposed to be, so she goes to follow it, and she finds his dead body in this closet. And she freaks out, with good reason. And that scene especially, I was like, wow, this show, for an ABC Disney-owned show, this is getting pretty dark. You know, the blood, and just seeing his dead body up there, this selected group of team. We see them stop the inmate, which again, maybe I just wasn't into it. But I didn't understand why shining light onto him just so easily defeated him. Maybe I just didn't care enough to listen to, I'm sure Fitz and Simmons explained it, but again, I just didn't care. The cellist, she gets knocked down, and Coulson, we find out, I should have mentioned this, this is the only interesting thing about this plot, but they still don't really do anything with it. The cellist was Coulson's girlfriend, and they were pretty serious together. He loved her, but when she found out that he died from the Avengers, she was broken up, and he obviously hasn't told her the truth, that he's still alive. So there's this whole thing on whether she's going to find out, whether she'll see Coulson, or if he's going to tell the truth. He ultimately doesn't, and that's what I didn't like. I didn't like that you didn't get that moment of her finding out and them two reuniting. Maybe they're saving it for a future episode, or if there is a season 2, which they still haven't confirmed yet. I know the ratings haven't been that great, but goddamn, when are we going to find out if the show is going to get another season? It was interesting to see somebody from Coulson's past, somebody so big from his past, but I just didn't feel like I got really anything out of it. Fitz has a moment where it looks like he's going to tell Simmons what he feels about her because she just asked him, why are you acting this way to Triplet? But he backs out, of course, something else that doesn't progress. Then Ward takes Skye. He makes up this lie about how the team needs her, blah, blah, blah. He takes the plane, and they leave. Skye knows by now that he's lying, and she's just kind of, I guess, going along with it to see what happens, or maybe to try to get herself out of it. Not really sure. The episode ends with Coulson and everyone going back to the base, and their plane is gone, the team's gone, they don't really know what's going on. They're stuck there like, huh? And then after the credits, the very last scene is Melinda May being picked up by her mom, who I guess was a former agent herself, which was pretty cool. And May said she only called her because she needed somebody she could trust. And the conversation they have about May going to either find or talk to Maria Hill. I found that interesting because we know that Nick Fury wasn't directly involved with the whole Coulson bringing back to life thing. He put somebody in charge of that. I figured it was Maria Hill, but this conversation makes me kind of know for sure that it had to be Maria Hill. I saw from the preview that she's going to be in next week's episode. I'm very much looking forward to that, especially because we know that she's not really involved with S.H.I.E.L.D. at all. So, look, the main plot I might not have been that into. Felt really generic. I understand, and I even like the idea of them going after the inmates that were broken out and trying to round them all up, but that could have been saved for a season 2, which, again, we don't know if we're even going to get, so maybe that's why we did this now. I just found myself just wanting more of the Ward situation and what would happen with that. We got a little bit, and I think those were the best scenes of the episode. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below not only what did you think of this episode, but what do you think? Will Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. get a season 2? I hope so. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Later!